After making a video about MEOW's debut, I was kind of surprised that more and more people seem to be getting caught up on the fake haters concept in K-pop. Groups who speak to an imaginary group of haters right at debut is nothing new. I remember ITZY getting criticized for this when they debuted with Dala Dala, but nowhere near to the extent that groups are getting criticized for it these days. Superficially, this seems like a consequence of increased pandering towards Western audiences. The K-pop marketplace seems to be successfully overlapping with the intended global markets that aren't already K-pop fans, but yet those audiences' expectations in music seem to be coming along with them. I talked about this in the global group lyricism video I did. I believe global groups coming out of the K-pop industry are going to have a hard time presenting themselves to Western audiences with more unbelievable concepts such as fake haters. If we look at the charts that K-pop companies seem to be pandering towards in the West, there is a general preference for song meaning when it comes to Western artists. Billie Eilish, Sabrina Carpenter, Benson Boone, Taylor Swift, Hozier, Chappell Roan, and so on. With artists like these in mind, the demographic that K-pop seems to be pandering towards in the West seems to be looking for profound and or relatable song meaning. Now, I don't think Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter is incredibly complex, but I think it does present a new and relatable idea that we don't often see in pop music. Love songs, as I said in the lyricism video, do have a bit of an easier time getting accepted by Western audiences over their meaning. There's a greater threshold for corny lyrics and borderline cringy sentiments because that's often what love is and feels like. It's relatable by the end. This, to me, is the difference in reception between Cat's Eye's Touch and Debut. A love song about a lack of communication versus an intimidation song about being the best and, of course, speaking to the fake haters. Now, there is a conversation to be had with Dream Academy in mind that Cat's Eye did very much have real haters before their debut, but for most people, the concept of debut still came across as too unbelievable. But that is for global groups like Cat's Eye. What does this mean for K-pop though? The increased outcry over song meaning in regards to MEOW's debut seems to suggest that more unbelievable concepts no longer have a place in K-pop. I would argue that YG Entertainment specifically, and the Black label as an extension of that, have very obviously expressed a desire to not pander towards Western audiences any more than they already do. From MEOW to Baby Monster's Forever and Sheesh, Treasure's King Kong, Blackpink's Pink Venom, Somi's Ice Cream, there seems to be a want to market towards the West as they always have since around the second generation. YG Entertainment is of course incredibly inspired by styles and music from around the world, for better or for worse sometimes, but they don't seem to want to pander towards the West in ways that other companies have been prioritizing in recent years. I think Sheesh more than anything outlines that very clearly. They do not have an interest in fully relinquishing the K-pop flair. This is the framework that K-pop operated underneath for a very long time. I think back to songs like FX's Nuya Bio, which is literally an intimidation song about nothing in particular. The members recorded the song and showed up to the music video set not knowing what the song was about and had to decide upon a meaning among themselves. Nonsense, silliness, and unbelievable concepts have always been a part of K-pop, and as a kind of defense of MEOW specifically, YG and the Black label has really never left that framework behind. I understand an argument that the fake haters concept in particular is a bit oversaturated today, but in that case, I don't think it's an issue of song meaning, but rather style. If a back-off haters concept can be presented in a unique way, is there still a place for it in the K-pop industry? I think about groups like ITZY and start to wonder if their reception in recent years is because of their commitment to concepts that are less desirable in the West. The same goes for groups like STAYC, who have really doubled down on the more quirky and vibrant aspects to K-pop in a very sincere way, and especially in regards to NMIXX. Maybe the reason they aren't as celebrated as we think they ought to be has a lot to do with Western pandering. So, are unbelievable concepts like imaginary haters an inherent problem? Depending on who you ask, if you show up to music for the purposes of song meaning, lyricism, and relatability, it absolutely is a problem. I guess my real question is, does this philosophy extend towards the entire K-pop industry, even for companies and labels like YG Entertainment or groups like ITZY and STAYC, who have expressed a desire to maintain certain hallmarks of what K-pop has been before? Is the meaning of the song MEOW the inherent problem, or does it have more to do with the style of the release in general? That is my question to you, if you watched until this point. I personally love a fake haters concept, and I'm of the current understanding that if there's any quote problem with MEOW's debut, it is more so an issue of style. What can be called the YG formula or Teddy style, and yes, I know he didn't produce this song, but the YG formula is a little too overbearing in terms of style when it comes to the production of this song. It is the first thing many people notice, which is not a good thing in my opinion. I think that is the inherent problem here. In the previous video I made about their debut, Starburst Bunny left a very interesting comment that claims that MEOW actually wasn't Teddy enough, referring back to previous releases of 2NE1 and Blackpink, where the production of their earlier songs held a lot more dynamic despite what can be considered empty production. I'm thinking 2NE1's Come Back Home, Blackpink's Whistle, and so on. I don't think this issue of what would you call this? Sophistication in K-pop has a singular answer or avenue that can be taken down to uncover what the real problem is here. There's not going to be one problem for every single person's subjective music taste, but I think the conversations about MEOW in terms of song meaning reveal an interesting blind spot when it comes to the current generation of K-pop. There are releases like Supernova and Anti-Fragile that evade this entire discussion about song meaning. They were maximalist enough to be considered K-pop without too much pandering towards the West, and yet still managed to become breakout hits both domestically and internationally. The song meaning of these two songs is not very believable in terms of the standards we see in the Western market, Supernova especially, but they're still well received by general audiences. My resolution or interpretation of this conversation is very plainly an issue of style, or perhaps even more vague than that, is an effective execution of the concept at hand. I personally can enjoy any concept and believe K-pop benefits from not being required to overthink things sonically or lyrically, so long as all aspects of a concept are fleshed out in meaningful or intentional ways. That is what I think. Thank you for watching this. If you did, definitely let me know what your thoughts are in this. If you see this in a different way, what are your personal expectations when it comes to K-pop? Are they any different compared to how you engage with other music genres, and so on? Thanks again for watching this. Subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time.